Hey guys, Max with Ironman 4x4, and today we're gonna be showing you how to get these Ironman 4x4 Pro-Forged upper control arms into your truck. Yeah, but why do I need upper control arms? You need UCAs on your truck because if you lift it over 2 inches, you change the geometry, okay? It's like the forks on your tricycle. They have a rake to them. And when you lift your truck up, the forks go like this, and it makes it into like one of those little teeny circus trikes that you can't ride around and you have no control over. You put upper control arms back in, it moves the ball joint back, dials in all that OEM caster. Now your truck is gonna track totally awesome. If you're working on your garage floor, a couple things you need. Get a floor jack, jack stands. You're gonna wanna make sure your truck's in park with the e-brake on. Jack up the front, use those jack stands. You wanna be safe. If you're working in a shop on a lift, use all those safety precautions too. 2-post lifts, make sure you're down on your locks, all that stuff. We just want you to be safe, don't want anybody to get hurt. And if you're working on a lift, pop your hood now before you raise the roof. Let's start with these ABS brackets. We're gonna do one up top on the stock UCA. Grab yourself a 10mm wrench, and we'll take this bolt out right here. And then what I'm gonna do is push that guy back, and I'll just hand thread that back in so we don't lose it. Then we're gonna grab a 12mm wrench and we're gonna work right down here on the back of the knuckle. That'll get our brake line bracket loose and removed. Then we'll just gently pry this brake line back, and it goes from soft line to hard line here, but there is a lot of flex. All right, now I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers and we're gonna pop that retainer clip off of the castle nut for our ball joint. You can just pull back and it slides out. Set that somewhere safe. All right, lines are unhooked. Now we're gonna grab a 19mm socket and we're gonna break this castle nut loose. And you don't wanna take it all the way off. So we'll just lower it down here like that, because I'm gonna go get a mini sledge. We're gonna hit that impact zone right there on the front of it. That's gonna pop our ball joint loose. This will slide down and the nut down there will catch it so it doesn't come all blown out and apart. All right, it works best to have a mini sledge, and you're gonna wanna hit right here. Not here or here so much, but right in this region here. Then you can kind of get your hip up underneath, pull down on the UCA, spin that nut off, and that'll separate. And then as we rock the spindle back, we're just gonna kind of let it hang out, just like that. I'll put that back on there so I don't lose it. Now we can attack this long through bolt that connects our UCA up here to the frame mount. Oh, hey. I think it's worth mentioning, when you unhook your ball joint from the spindle here, see how the UCA is like sitting here? That's because they tightened that through bolt when it was on the ground under its normal ride height, under load. And that's good, because that means you're not gonna overstress your bushings. And we wanna do the same thing. That's why we don't tighten the through bolt or any of our bushings down until the truck is back down under its own weight. Verification. You're gonna need two 19mm wrenches. I'm gonna use a ratcheting wrench, and on the nut side here, I'm gonna hook it like that. And then I'm gonna hook an 18 like this to give myself some extra leverage. There we go. And I'm watching the bolt head up here too. If it doesn't move, then the nut's actually loosening up. But if it does, you're gonna need a 19 to hold that in place. Now, as you loosen this guy's gonna fall. And I don't wanna chip up my beautiful Ironman 4x4 green. And you can also put a towel, tuck a rag or something in here. You just don't want the end of this ball joint smashing up all your nice powder coat. All right, so we got that nut off. Now, that washer cups backwards, not forwards. So remember that, because it needs to go back in like that. Okay, so with that nut and washer set aside, before we push this long through bolt out through the front, we're gonna get a clip removal tool. I'm gonna pop this mud guard out of the way. There's a wire harness right there. That's the tab that holds it in. We're gonna push that through. Then I'm gonna lower the truck down so that I can get up over into the engine bay, make sure that our wires are out of the way, and we'll feed that out through the front. So I kind of push that front tab in, push that back tab in, keep pressure Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna lower the truck down and go over the top. All right, so every 4Runner is different. It's like a snowflake, no two are alike. I've had it before where this thru-bolt, you can push it and it will totally bypass the body here. But this one is hitting, so that is in the way, which isn't the end of the world because we can bend this out. This is just thin right there. So grab yourself some pliers. I've got a little baby set of ice grips that I can get kind of up and around here. And I'm just gonna hook it around that kind of rolled portion. And then you just wanna slowly bend that out of the way. And you don't need to go too much because it only takes a little bit. And then look, that bolt slides right by. I'm gonna just grab the bolt behind the head in front of the washer, and I'm just gonna slowly kind of twist and feed that bolt towards the front of the truck. I wanna make sure the washer stays back here. And then you can even kind of wiggle the UCA around to loosen up so you can slide that out. So just work it a little bit at a time, and then you'll feel it. There we go. I'm looking for some clearance there, Clarence. All right. Now you can pop that UCA out. And you get confused, you can always look at the part number, and at the very end it's got a LH for left-hand side. All right, we're gonna feed our Pro-Forge UCA back in under this ABS wire. We're gonna make sure we've got our thru-bolt, and we wanna get that started into the front of that bushing right there. There we go, we feed that through. And then once that starts poking out, there we go, line it up, slides right through. And again, I kind of wiggle the UCA just so it won't lock down on us. Okay, so now we're through, and now it's through the right side. I'm gonna throw a rag around that so it doesn't chip up that powder coat I worked so hard on. All right, grab your OEM washer and your nut. You wanna make sure that that washer is cupped facing backwards. I spun that 19 down hand tight, but do not tighten anything down yet. Again, we wanna tighten it when it's on the ground under its natural ride height. All right, and don't forget to reach back here and push that wire harness clip back in. There we go. I'm gonna get our little mud guard and this plastic clip. So when you go to put this ball joint down into your spindle, you'll notice that this ball joint, if it's not aligned in the right angle to the taper of your spindle, it's not just gonna fly right in. These are built with a really tight interference fit on this ball joint. You want that. To adjust it, grab a wrench and then bend this to the right angle so that when you go to put it in your spindle, and sometimes you could get it to move a little bit using the spindle, but the goal here is you've got to get that taper to let match up. Once you pull it through, take your spacer and your nut, spin that down. All right, so we're gonna grab a 19 and we'll tighten this down. And you wanna get it tight, but you don't need to go overboard. So you'll notice as you tighten this down, that ball joint's gonna keep sucking down because you've got a conical taper. There we go. And then you're looking for lining up one of these castellation slots with one of the through holes. And that through hole is right there. Now we can get our cotter pin through. You can reuse your OEM cotter pin, but Ironman gave us a nice brand new one. It's extra heavy duty. And then I like to run my cotter pins up and down, and then I'll grab the lower one. Been both around, that ain't going nowhere. Okay, let's get our brackets put back together. So I'm gonna spin this 12 out. That's got a little locating tab and hole there. I'll spin it down. It's kind of cheating working on a brand new truck. Everything just comes apart and goes together like it should. So grab yourself a pair of pliers or vice grips, and this tab right here, we're gonna clamp down and we're gonna bend it out just a bit. There we go. All right, one more quick step. We need to drill this hole out to fit onto the Pro-Forge UCA. So if you live in Miami, grab your Miami vice grips. If you're somewhere else, I think they're just called standard vice grips. So we're gonna lock that down. I'm gonna grab a step bit and we're just gonna hollow out that hole so that we can get our hardware in. Cool, that should work. Now we're gonna grab our Allen head screw and a 5mm Allen wrench. Secured, affixed, connected. All right, we got the other side finished. We just gotta get our wheels and tires on, drop it on the ground, and we'll tighten down that upper UCA through bolt. Now tightening up your through bolt on your UCA is slow going. Grab a 19, get it on the nut side. You can see here with your wrench, you're not gonna have a ton of throw to work with. And I like to keep my left hand on the bolt because a lot of times you don't even need to put a wrench on the bolt head. It'll stay where it is. Once you get it really, really tight, you can lock a couple wrenches together. Give yourself a little extra leverage. UCAs are in, that install wasn't bad at all. Don't forget to go get your truck aligned. If you want to learn more about these Pro-Forge UCAs, go check it out at Ironman 4x4 America.com. You can pick out a set over there.